Welcome back. This is Sam Callahan of Callahan Training Group. Welcome back to the Callahan Training Group podcast. I'm a little behind here because last week I shot with Manny Talk Shooting. Great guy, great podcast. I had a really fun conversation with him. Go over, check his stuff out. I'm looking forward for that. I don't know when that comes out, but I'm looking forward to it. What I want to talk about this week was interesting. It was my PCSL match that I just held. So last Sunday, about 6 days ago from this recording, I had a PCSL match. I had a Sunday match, public match. I normally do private matches. So Sunday match, I did about 30 people through 4 stages, about 150 rounds. We had 3 squads come through. Smooth as could be. It was the first big public match that I've run up at Double Eagle. I run a lot of private matches, like 10, 12 people at a time, couple hours, but wanted to start doing these monthly matches, and PCSL seemed like the right format. It was very fun. We did 4 field courses, used PCSL targets on 2 of the stages. One stage we used the classic Ip005 turtle shell, and then one stage we used the metric, the full-size ones like behind me, the full-size USPSA target. So it was a good match. The rule set for PCSL was very fun because it allowed a lot more people to come out and participate, it felt like. The divisions were a lot easier to manage. You were in one of 4 divisions, and 3 of them are pistols, one of them PCC. It's pretty simple. I'll go over some detail. And then it was just more fun scoring with the K-zone target. Like, it just seemed to be more fun while retaining its safety and competitive efficacy. So it was a fun match. I really am looking forward to holding more PCSL matches. But right there, I wanted to talk about something as far as the USPSA stuff goes. I am not anti-USPSA. I am not hoping it burns to the ground. I don't know where that came from, where being critical of USPSA means we hate it. I've separated my emotion from the sport and the board. The sport is us. Sport's the shooters. All the benchmarks off all the classifiers, all the match finishes, all the support, all the money. It's us. It's the shooters. The board isn't that. The board doesn't seem aligned with us. And when I say the board, it's really half the board now. So, and a couple of other people. So those aren't the sport as far as I'm concerned. They don't embody the nature of the sport. They don't embody the, we'll call it the spirit of the sport. But that doesn't mean the rest of us, thousands and thousands of shooters, aren't still out there taking it seriously, training, upping our benchmarks, chasing the best shooters out in the world. And that's a fact of the matter right now. USPSA is the best pistol shooters in the world in it, and Ip005. So it's, if you want to go test yourself against the best, that's where the best are. That's where the highest benchmarks are. I earned my grandmasters in that sport, so I don't want to just burn it to the ground after I did that. It'll feel a lot like how Three Gun Nation happened. I made my pro class, I had a couple of classifier wins, and the board blew it up. So that's enough. I'm not going to really talk about that. I love the roots of USPSA. I like hit factor scoring. I like speed and accuracy. So I don't want to burn it to the ground. The sport is awesome. The people in the sport are awesome. The guys who support the matches are awesome. We just need to align ourselves with some better board members. But let's go back to PCSL. The match was a success in my eyes. It was a lot of fun. Everybody shot a bunch of rounds over 4 stages. If I got my number right, we had like 150 rounds over 4 stages, which is awesome. I was happy to have a high round count without it being like a hoser day. There were some hard shots out there, hard leans. Stage 1, I called it running bases. It was 3 zones that you were shooting from with pretty obvious target choices from each zone. What I did though is I used PCSL targets on that, and I had some open bodies and I had some headshot only options. So if you wanted to zoom in and shoot the K zone and invest some time and accuracy and take 1 shot instead of 2, you could score 10 points on the K zone in the head. I saw half and half of the crowd do that. Half the people went body, 2 in the head, 2 in the head, and took off just like it was USPSA. I had a couple other guys go 2 in the body, 2 in the belly, prep, break, 1 in each head, 2 K zones, full score, take off. And it was fun because now it's kind of going back to my roots in 3-gun. A neutralized target is a neutralized target. It doesn't matter how many shots it takes you to do it. It's up to you to invest the efficient time and energy to do it. So it was cool. It was a cool scoring option. Stage 2 was a big field course. It was like 34 rounds running all over the place, 6 steel, 14 paper. It was massive. It had a lot of options in there. And it was fun for people to kind of figure out, where am I going to move and shoot? Where am I going to do reloads? The divisional rule set came in there where people were asking about round counts. It's easy. as far as I'm concerned. You load to 21 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber. It doesn't matter your magazine length. It doesn't matter what you got. You have a maximum of 21 in the mag, 1 in the chamber. So if you got 22 round mags, boom, you're done. You can load 1 in the chamber, download all the rest of them, and you don't have to think about it. It let me have some fun with the stage design then, because I know that everybody has a maximum of 22 in the gun at any time. So I'm going to make stages that have 23, 24, 25 rounds in it, use those PCSL targets, and give you the option of, do I want to put a reload in here somewhere and break up the flow? Or do I want to just throttle control down, take a couple headshots, and prevent a reload? I don't know. The choice is yours. It was fun because now I'm messing with some divisional stuff. We had some stages come down to like seconds and points based on one guy went left, one guy went right. He shot a K zone, that guy shot 2 alpha, and it came down to fractions of a second. So it was fun. It was back to the 3-gun style of racing where you could use like your style to shoot the stage. You don't have to shoot the one stage plan presented to you. So it was very fun. So I'll talk about the divisions a little bit. The divisions are more inclusive from what I see. It's not that I don't like the USPSA divisions. In fact, I hope I like the production going to 15. I hope carry optics go to 15 because then we're in line with IPSC rules. I liked limited optics simply because what it did was give avenue for more shooters to come shoot. So I like more. More is good. Less barriers to entry to the shooting sports, right? So the divisions in PCSL are super friendly. They have comp. Comp is open, just whatever the hell you want, basically. Now they only score minor, so there's only so much of an advantage you can get now. But you could shoot open with your open rig, shoot 9 major, you could shoot 9 minor, it doesn't matter, go have fun. You have unrestricted division. Next came practical optics. Practical optics is akin to our limited optics in USPSA. It's basically no holds bar on the gun other than you can't have a compensator and you can't have a frame mounted optic. Everything else is just no holds bar, go ahead, magwell, whatever, but you're loaded to 22 plus 1. Pretty cool. Next division is practical irons, which is the last division minus an optic. Pretty easy to manage, right? You could shoot production, you could shoot your limited gun, doesn't really matter. Under that, PCC. What is PCC? A pistol caliber carbine. It doesn't matter. Optic, iron, doesn't matter. They don't care. There's no restrictive anything. It's just be safe. So it was a lot friendlier for people to come in and be like, hey, what division should I shoot? I don't know. There's 4. It's very easy. You're probably going to be in practical optics if I had to guess. I think 99% of the match shot practical optics. I had a carry out or a production iron shooter, 1. I had 1 comp shooter, and I had 1 PCC shooter who I had in his own division because, again, PCSL is fun for this. They have their flagship divisions, and then they give the clubs the ability to have provisional divisions. And my provisional division was PCC auto because I had a buddy of mine come out with his Sten fully auto, and he shot the whole match with it. And you know what? It was awesome. He's a professional 3-gunner, so you can trust the guy behind the gun. He wasn't going to do anything stupid. He wasn't there to just be reckless, but he's also a collector of cool guns. He hadn't shot in a while, and he said, hey, instead of coming out to a match and shooting my old gear, can I come out and shoot my machine gun? Hell yes, you can. Yeah, come out and shoot your machine gun. Come shoot it through a match. Well, guess what? When he's shooting plate racks and when he's shooting steel, it was a little bit hard for him to squeeze off 1 shot at a time. But did it make for a really good time? Was it safe? Was it competitive? Hell yeah, it was awesome. So the whole ability for me to let more people come play with us was why I like the divisions in PCSL. Now, I mentioned a little bit about scoring, and I like the scoring a lot in this. There is some talk about the head zone, the K zone. It's different. It is different, but it's just another option. It's another set of rules. You have to adjust your chosen spot on targets to abide by the rule set. It's that simple. I liked it. The scoring doesn't change really from the user side of things. You shoot at the zone you want. You shoot as many times as you need to get the 10 points. The only difference is the head zone has a bigger, not alpha. It's got a bigger zone. It's K zone. It's worth 10 points. So if you wanted to take 1 shot at a target, you could score your maximum 10 points. It was interesting. And then what got really interesting is we were playing this week with my little private match with a bunch of private students. And what we did is we set up a field course and we did 2 on everything, normal scoring. Really, it's not 2 on everything when you're shooting PCSL. What it is every target has a maximum of 10 points you could score. So you could choose to shoot 1 in the head or you can shoot 2 in the alpha and you can choose your maximum amount of points. So the interesting thing is we reran the stage scoring maximum 15 points on each target. In USPSA, that would be 3 on every target, right? They just say, hey, 3 on every target, best 3 score. In PCSL, now we had to decide, well, I could get 15 points by going 1 alpha, 1 headshot K. I could just dump 2 in the K. And if I have 2 K shots, well, that's 20 points. I can't score more than 15, but that's a fully neutralized target. Well, what if I shot at the head and I hit a K and an alpha in the head? That's a full target. So it forced people to then say, hey, I'm going to either rip 3 off at the body and do what I normally do, or I'm going to adjust my pace ever so slightly, shoot at heads, and all of a sudden I have maximum 15 points and my hit factor got better. So it was cool because it was a discipline off then. If you're a really fast ripper of a shooter, go ahead, throw 3 at all the bodies and go rip it up. But if you don't just pull off 16 splits and you can't do all that flash shooting, well then, hey, shoot the heads and you can keep up with that guy by scoring more points in a less amount of time. It's cool. It was fun. It was interesting. It was cool lessons to learn. So I like the scoring. It allows for more options, both from the shooter's perspective, but for the match director's perspective. I could set up stages that are multiple different options. And then what's cool is coming up, I'm going to be doing a 2-gun match. Well, 2-gun, if you don't want to shoot the 2-gun match and you want to just shoot your pistol, you could just shoot your pistol. You could shoot 2 matches on top of each other, essentially. And then their classifiers that are coming out are exactly the same way. It's 1 classifier, 1 setup. If you want to shoot pistol, you just shoot the pistol targets. If you want to shoot 2-gun, you shoot both the targets. Pretty simple. Easier for me as a match director. Pretty simple for you guys as shooters. But the actual classifiers are a lot more akin to real shooting, as I would say. It's not stand and shoot hoser stuff. It's actually some manipulation if you're standing still. If you're not standing still, it's moving like a field course. So it's pretty cool. I like the classifiers. I think the classifiers will be a lot more fair and akin to what we're looking for as far as a test of skills and being able to not be what we call a paper grandmaster, right? That said, I like the other thing that they're implementing. Their classifiers are not only real classifiers in PCSL, like real shooting challenges, not just standing in a box and hosing, but you can't make master from what Max has put out so far. You can't make master unless you attend a level 2 or 3 match. So you can't have a local grandmaster paper GM who's just at every club match shooting B class, even though it says GM next to his name. You have to earn that master grandmaster by going out and shooting on a national level. So it's cool because it'll prevent the paper GM, which is nice. That's cool. But what I like is it'll encourage a lot more participation. You're not going to just go to your local club match and not care. You're going to be a little bit more incentivized to go to your local club match and care, because you can rank up and be invited to your regionals and national events, similar to how 3-Gun Nation was. You have to kind of earn your way in. You don't just go to 1 or 2 club matches a year and then buy your way to nationals and use that as your vacation and kind of not support the sport otherwise. There's going to be a lot more incentive for shooters to come out and stay building the rank, coming out and shooting matches and actually building the rank, because the matches now will also count for your classification. So you're going to be incentivized to shoot more. You're going to be incentivized to go to that major match to actually get your master or grandmaster if you think you are one. But it's going to be a little bit more of a earned shooters classification now. I like that. It's a little bit more true. I'll just put it like that. Now, it's not finalized yet. Nothing's out yet. So things may change from the time I shoot this podcast. But as of what Max said in the last videos he released, I'm really liking everything I hear. Now, I don't think it's a mystery that the reason all the PCSL rule sets and all the competition stuff is coming out in a positive way. I don't think it's a mystery that it's due to the fact that Max Leograndis, the #1 PCC shooter and the guy who just won Limited Optics Nationals, he's running it. So I think it's something to say that this rule set, PCSL, will be run by actual competition guys who actually love and believe in the sport, not just as like some crap hobby that they do. They actually want to push it to a national level. They have bigger aspirations for it. I think it's going to be really meaningful to see another sport out there that pushes that envelope. And hopefully then USPSA goes, oh, okay, let's follow the lead here. We got a little bit of capitalism going now. We're not the only show in town anymore. There's not a monopoly on hit factor as much as they tried to do that. There's not a monopoly on hit factor. So if PCSL has a better product to offer, USPSA better step up. If USPSA steps up, PCSL will get better. There's no loss here. I don't see a loss here. I think it's only going to be a good thing. If you want to come out and shoot your rifle and 2-gun, you go to PCSL. If you want to be a pistol guy, you can go to USPSA. It doesn't matter. You got something for everybody now. But I think this will kind of push us to say, well, the reason PCSL is going so well is because competitors are running it. So do you need to be a grandmaster PCC shooter, #1 in the country, limited optics? No, you don't need to be that crazy to run the sport, but I think it helps to have guys involved that actually give a crap and they're not just here to just hang out with their buddies. we all like going to matches and seeing our friends. I love going out to see my buddies, but like I'm going out to compete. I'm doing this because I dry fire at home. I'm doing this because I invest a lot of time and energy and money into this. And it's not just to go hang out in the hotel room with my buddies and drink beers for 3 days. I can do that. We could do that. You could do that on your own. This as much as it's fun to be on the range with your friends, this is a competitive sport, and a lot of us take this seriously. And if we're taking this seriously, there's no reason we shouldn't see better nationals, better events. There's no reason we shouldn't take it seriously. Like freaking pickleball takes it seriously. There's cornhole on ESPN. Our sport is objectively cooler than cornhole, and it should be televised. But when we don't have board members in USPSA who believe this is a real sport, we're not ever going to take it seriously. On the other side, Max already brought his stuff, his PCSL stuff to SHOT Show, ran a nationals, got a bunch of data. It's barely out yet, and he's already pushing it to a national scene. He's already pushing it out to be competitive across the country. We're going to see a very cool uptick in competition. And that's where my next point is. I think two-gun is really the next thing that's going to catch on. It's going to be like the next big thing in competition shooting, because one stage at a time is cool. Now you can overlap two, right? Now we can shoot a pistol stage, a rifle stage on top of each other. There's blending. There's all this cool dynamic gun switches, dumping guns, picking guns up. But beyond just there being two stages, if you've ever shot two-gun or three-gun before, you understand it's not just one stage, then shoot the next stage. There's a lot of flow. There's a lot of understanding where there is dead time and try to avoid dead time on stages. And you realize if there's 2 seconds of shooting here and 2 seconds of shooting here, but it took me 15 seconds to switch guns. Oh, maybe I don't need to pull the trigger faster. Maybe I need to be better with my actual weapon systems, right? So I think two-gun will be a cool thing to start getting out there, because it'll stop people from having the anxiety of ripping on triggers so fast and being smoother. Figuring out better stage plans, figuring out how I can stay busier and be more efficient rather than just come into a stage and go and throw my gun away. So I think two-gun will be an interesting thing. Now, the other thing is everybody's got ARs. If you've got a pistol, you probably have an AR. Why not, in the same vein, come practice with your AR? We have pistols. Come shoot your pistols, right? I want everybody to be able to shoot their pistols. But in the same vein, I don't want to just have an AR and assume I'm good with it. I want to have an AR, and I want to train with it in the same high capacity that I train with my pistol. If I know I can run around and shoot the same way that I do my pistol, why wouldn't I be able to shoot my rifle the same way? Like, why wouldn't I want to, why wouldn't I want to train with my rifle the same way? I have such high confidence shooting my pistol because of USPSA. I want that confidence behind my rifle, period. Pretty easy. So one of the other big things that I like about the PCSL world is it gives you the old, I kind of mentioned this earlier. It gives you the whole feeling of the old three-gun nation days, the days of kind of build your own stage plan. And I mean that in a fun way. I had a couple of buddies I would shoot three-gun with. And what would happen is I had a buddy who's really, really good with his shotgun. He could load that thing in under 2 seconds every time, quad load it under 2 seconds every time. You'd have to pry that shotgun out of his hands. You'd have to give him an excuse to shoot some other gun. Well, me, I could shoot my shotgun, but I wasn't as fast as Phil. So I'm not going to try to beat him at his game. I was a good pistol shooter, so I'd lean on my pistol shooting. So while Phil is shooting targets with his shotgun, I was shooting targets with my pistol, and we'd come down to a fraction of a second sometimes in some stages, even though we had 100% different stage plans. And that, my friends, is racing. I don't care how you do it. You have a different style. You have a different way of accomplishing it. If at the end of the day, there's 50 targets and we come down to a fraction of a second of a difference, that means we're pushing the envelope. We're not trying to all fight over one kind of stage plan. We're not trying to see who's the best at that thing. We're trying to put a problem in front of you and you solve it with your brain to the best of your abilities. Well, that's realistic. That's how you should be training. You don't get to game life. You don't get to game everything. We just deal with the set of variables in front of us when you're dealing with a problem. Well, in USPSA, sometimes we get a little pigeonholed into, well, you go left, you go right, right? It gets boring. Not boring, but it gets simple. That's all, just get simple. Now, two-gun, you get to decide, do I want to shoot rifle first, pistol first? Do I want to go left? Do I want to go right? How do I want to dice the stage up? When do I want to switch guns? It's going to give you a better sense of like, I'm going to do this stage because I like this. I have practiced this. You don't just have to follow a grandmaster down his stage plan because a grandmaster's doing it. So that's my big thing with two-gun. I think two-gun will be kind of, I don't want to say the next big thing, but if you notice kind of the trends online, thank you, Ben Stoker, but USPSA training has become popular. Like it's normal now for guys to go out and train hit factor, push speed, drop Charlies, kind of figure out how I get better. Well, what is the next kind of thing that happens is everybody gets this pistol in their hand and they start getting it and they go, well, I got that rifle sitting over in the corner right there. Why don't I see if I can do the same thing with the rifle? And what do you know? I can. And I can push the limits a little bit further. So while you're doing doubles at 7 yards with your pistol, you're doing doubles at 25 yards with your rifle now. And now you can start getting a sense of how good I am with this gun, how good I am with that gun. The attitude of becoming a more efficient shooter doesn't just end at your pistol. It should apply to all your guns. And now we have an avenue to apply it to all your guns. You could grab your rifles, you can do other things. So the 2-gun match that I have coming up is going to be an interesting one. I have 5 stages planned. I have 3 base stages like you would see any other two-gun. Run around, shoot your pistol, dump your pistol, pick your rifle up, run around, shoot your rifle. Fast and furious, like 40 rounds a stage, it'll be fun. Now I have 2 interesting stages that come back from my 3-gun nation side. The first stage that's going to be weird for people, for the USPSA folk that is I'm going to have a long distance rifle stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them start with the pistol and I'm going to have them run like something fast, furious, get your heart rate up, close, really ripping on triggers. I'm going to have them dump their pistol, pick their rifle up, and now they're going to have to take some long distance shot. I'm talking like 200-yard shots from awkward positions on like 8 to 10-inch plates, maybe an AC zone if I'm feeling nice that day. But that's going to be weird for some of these USPSA guys. You're going to have a stage that takes, I don't know, 45 seconds, maybe 60 whole seconds, and you might take 12 shots. Now, every miss is going to cost you 4 seconds instead of that half-second makeup shot that you're used to in USPSA. So that long distance stage might mess with people a little tiny bit if you're just used to going to a match and shooting as hard and fast as you can all day with no discipline. It'll be fun. So I think the PCSL 2-gun stuff will allow me to mess with people in a fun way. I'll throw some targets out real far out there and see how disciplined you can get. The other stage that I'm going to run is going to be a jungle run, which comes back from the 3-gun nation days. Can't really do that in pistol. It's not like, I mean, it's you could do it. It's just not as interesting as doing it with a long gun and having people run through a jungle, quote unquote, run through a path through the woods and shoot left, shoot right, shoot left, shoot right, dump one gun, pick another gun up, shoot left, shoot right, shoot left. It's super exciting. The stage is going to be interesting because while it's maybe 2 yards wide, we'll call it, it is going to be 50 yards long. And there's going to be walls and barricades and everything set up along that trail that you're going to have to basically run and shoot your rifle, run and shoot your rifle, run and shoot your rifle to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, dump your gun, pick your pistol up, run to the end. And what I'm going to have is basically a stop plate. I'm going to have it out there so that you're going to choose how far do I need to be to shoot that plate. If I want to stop with a 40-yard gap, I'll stop and take that shot. If I want to run up to 20 yards to shoot that plate, I can shoot that plate. So I'm going to basically tempt people to go running into the woods and see how far they need to run into the woods. It's a lot different than running around a bay. It's a lot different than running around and shooting through this port, dump my gun, this port, that port. It's not so obvious anymore. There's not that corner on the stage that everybody's walked through and it's very obvious position. You're going to be running through the woods and you're literally going to have to remember where the targets are, find the targets. And if you run by them, there's not going to be a reminder. There's not going to be oh yeah, you're just going to run by targets in the woods. So 2-gun is going to be an interesting way to turn up the heat on stage on matches because I can have a totally different style stage now. Yes, you could have the classifier stand and shoots. Yes, I could have base stages. Now I can have long range. Now I could have jungle runs. So I'm back to a more fun way of doing shooting. It's a more fun action match now. It's not just a hose fest. It's not just a who can shoot their pistol the fastest. It's a balance, right? So the last thing I really want to talk about with PCSL is the number one thing everybody told me. It was more fun. I had fun. There wasn't so much gotcha penalty. There wasn't so many gotcha divisional rules or gotcha here. It wasn't so much, oh, you missed the target and then this and then that and then this extra thing. It was really easy to make up shots. It was really easy to score points. It was more fun. The divisional stuff made it less intimidating for people. I had a number of guys come up and just shoot their duty gear because they wanted to shoot a match. They didn't want to buy a $300 outside the waistband rig. They're a cop. I have an outside the waistband rig. So guess what? They fit in with practical optics like everybody else. It was awesome. They had fun coming out and shooting their normal rig hard, fast through all these stages that they normally don't get a chance to train on. And what ends up happening is these guys get a sense of, oh, my duty rig failed in this capacity on this stage. So maybe I might, tune my duty rig up for duty. Maybe I might make something better to protect me in real life. So now I'm going home a little bit happier knowing all these people had fun, but now a couple of cops are actually going home with a little bit better knowledge and ability to improve their training, improve their gear based on what they saw, right? There's a couple guys who came from like IDPA or the defensive side that they have plenty of guns and rifles, but they didn't have USPSA quote unquote gear, or they didn't know about the USPSA rules. They didn't want to come play that hard game, but they came out to PCSL because it was seemingly more friendly to come out. And you know what? From the match director side, it was. From the user experience side, it was nothing but positive. If you are a new shooter to action shooting, your experience barely changed at all. And really, it doesn't need to change. Even if you're shooting at the PCSL targets with the K-zone, you could still just shoot at the body like you know how to do. You could do everything that you normally do. You don't need to do anything differently. Your user experience doesn't change unless you want to start shooting at K-zones, unless you want to start shooting two-gun. And then the user experience is just more positive in my opinion. You're not going to get a gotcha rule. You're not going to get a, oh yeah, well, an IDPA failure to reload rule. It's just more fun. It was just a more fun thing. So fun is always good, but it was still competitive. It was still fair. It was still safe. Everything you would expect from a match was there. Everybody went home shooting 150 rounds. And here's the kicker. Something that I've been introducing is a way to shoot matches in what I call a tea time fashion, where instead of trying to throw 100 people out on the field and jam them up at once and everybody stand around for 9 hours, I don't have that much time to waste. I just don't like throwing away an entire day to shoot for a total of, I don't know, 20 seconds a stage 5 times. So what I have done is I've introduced this ability that we shot 4 stages in 2.5 hours. That was it. They didn't have to set up. They didn't have to tear down. So these matches that I'm holding allow just more fun. You show up, you're done in 2.5 hours. You didn't have to set up. You didn't have to tear down. So you're not in the car at dawn. You're not heading home at dusk. It's come out, shoot your match. We started at 10 o'clock, and that's even being a little liberal there. I was actually on top of the mountain doing my match announcement at 10. We probably started around 10:15, 10:30. We were done at 12:30. People were home for afternoon or for dinner, like nobody lost their whole day. Nobody's wife was mad that they were gone all day for one of the 2 days that they had off, right? So it was a nice way to format this now. So not only is PCSL for me allow me to run a more flowing match, but because it flows better, I can now do what I call tea times, where I'm going to start shooting a morning shift and a night shift. So we're going to have like a 9 to 12 match and then a 1 to 4 match. I'm going to have 30 people in the morning, 30 people at the night. If you want to squad with your buddies, squad with your buddies. But if you don't squad with your buddy, I don't care if you're all at the same club all day. If you're on squad 1 and he's on squad 2, you don't hang out anyway. So let's stop just being at the same range for 9 hours just to be at the same range for 9 hours. I've got other stuff to do. If I'm going to be at the range for 9 hours, I want to shoot a lot more than, I don't know, a minute and a half and 150 rounds. So you come out at 9 o'clock, we're shooting by 10, you're done by 12, you're home by dinner. Or the guys that come in the afternoon shift, they wake up, you have breakfast with your family, you do your thing, you go to church, you do your laundry, you do whatever your wife needs you to do that day, go to Home Depot, you come out to the club, you're shooting at 1 o'clock, you're done by 4, you're still home by dinner. Why wouldn't we start doing this? So I'm starting to do this just as a way to change the meta out there. I can do it because my club is a little unique. I manage my club. I can set up stages ahead of time. I can have fun. But there's no reason clubs shouldn't start doing stuff like this, or at least exploring other options to run matches. So there's not 15 people on a squad, every squad in the bay staring at each other shoot all day long. I do 8 to 10 people. If I have 4 stages, I'll only do 3 squads. So yeah, I have to cut some numbers. But because I did that, I ran a 2.5 hour match. And now knowing better, I can run a 2.5 hour match in the morning, 2.5 hour match at night. I could have 30 people through and not have anybody standing around staring at each other. Nobody complaining about, I just stood here all day, right? Nobody's going to go home bored. Nobody's going to go home early. I'm working the same. I don't care. The staff is working the exact same. Nothing changes. We're still running stages. So something to explore, something to play with. I'm going to be doing that for the PCSL match coming up. We're going to start it an hour earlier. We're going to go 9 to 12. If I can get the numbers signed up, I'm going to do a 1 to 4 match. See what happens. So stay tuned. This whole PCSL thing is going to be an interesting journey just because it's another option. It's a way to explore how to do more matches, how to play with more hit factor, how to play with more scoring and divisional stuff. I'm going to wrap it up there and just say USPSA isn't dead. It will come back. I have a feeling that there's going to be some weird stuff that transpires through April. After IPSC Nationals, we might get rid of another deadweight board member, and then we're on our way to fixing USPSA. So I hope USPSA does fix. So this isn't me saying PCSL is going to come and kill USPSA. Now, if USPSA doesn't right the ship, PCSL is right here. It's ready. It's coming. For us clubs, it's a lot easier and cheaper to run, but I haven't lost faith in USPSA yet, right? I think the sport will be saved by the shooters. I think I mentioned that earlier. It's not the board that's going to save it. It's going to be the shooters that save it. So it's going to be an interesting year. 2024, I'm still going to, I think, 6 majors. I'm signed up for Carry Optics Nationals, so I'm still going to USPSA Nationals. I earned a slot, so I wanted to go this year. It's a long story, but I didn't get to go the 2 previous years due to family and health complications. So I'm going. I'm also going to the matches this year to support my friends' clubs. So I'm going down to West Virginia to shoot at Keanu's club to shoot for his match in down south. I'm going up to Lipsa to support Jeff Paul at Lipsa because their matches are incredible and he's a huge part of the sport. I'm going out to Audalani to shoot matches out in Audalani because those guys are absolutely killer, put on a killer match, and the club and the members and the people there are the net positive to the sport. And I want to continue supporting them, period. They're awesome people. They put on awesome matches. They put on awesome events. They contribute to the shooting sports a lot, and they have a lot of other people that come in and help. So it's going to be a fun 2024. The shooting will not stop. We're not going to stop shooting points per second. You can't stop us. Doesn't matter. So thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of this nice spring that we have coming right now. And don't forget to dry fire. Have a good one.